All right, we are recording. It's the Lex, Pinz, and Pete show, week 9. We have a very special guest on. We have Joe Haneen. Is that how you pronounce his name, Haneen? And Joe, it's Joe. We have him on with George to talk about the last week's result, Team 2 Pinz versus Team Slippery Pete. We'll also get into some other stuff with Joe while he's on. I guess without further ado, I'll let him in. I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say for the introduction.
Nope.
George, are you on a treadmill right now?
Absolutely am.
You getting your steps in or something?
We don't fucking stop working
here.
here. We don't stop working. Yeah, we lost this week. So what do? We hop right back on the treadmill.
Joe, we got you.
I'm here.
All right. I guess we can get right into it. We have Team 2 Pinz on. Before we get into last week's matchup, I just want to give you guys the opportunity to speak about this past week, specifically the news about Henry Ruggs. I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to say about that. Maybe your plans. I see that you guys still have him rostered, I believe. Joe, George, one of you guys can start. You guys can both speak at the exact same time if you'd like. I don't know if you have anything prepared.
I mean, honestly, what Henry Ruggs needs right now is he needs someone to love him. You know, he's probably feeling all types of bad things about himself, and he needs somebody to love him. I'm going to be there for him. I'm going to prove that to him, not anybody else, to him. I'm going to be there for him. I didn't know if I could text him or, call him. I didn't know what the rules were around that. But, I love, for me, it's one of those situations where I kind of love the man, hate the sin type thing, I mean, that's just something that I kind of came up with on my own while I was reflecting on kind of the whole situation. But, we have a job to do, we have a job to do. And the guys, in that locker room, they're focused on doing their job. So that's kind of the way we're looking at it.
Very well said. Joe, you got anything to add?
Can't agree more with my co-manager. Stick by everything he said.
Very nice. I will offer my condolences. I'm absolutely gutted for you two as fantasy owners. I can only imagine what you guys are going through.
But I mean, it's bigger than fantasy. I mean, thoughts go out to the victim.
Of course. Especially
Agreed.
the dog.
Yeah, I don't know, George. I don't make a habit of loving murderers. 156 miles per hour, double the legal limit. Maybe Henry Ruggs does need someone to love him right now, but it's not going to be me.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't think he'll. Maybe the broken hip will get him on the IR. It'll be interesting to see if you keep him in a roster slot over some, potential players that are out there that haven't committed these crimes. I did notice you guys weren't the biggest players in the Adrian Peterson lottery. It'll be interesting to see if you guys are able to address running back at the trade deadline. I don't know. Do you guys have any plans to do so?
We're really more worried about next week. The team we're facing has a great quarterback, great running back, physical wide receivers. So we're just focused on next week.
That's a very good way to manage things. You guys have had an all right season so far. You guys shot up the rankings in last week's power rankings. But that was ahead of last week's matchup. You guys went against Slippery Pete. I'm sure if you're watching the show, everybody kind of has an idea of how that matchup went. I don't have an exact quote from George, but I do remember the sentiment that he had last week was that the Pinz weren't afraid of Pete. They were it felt like they were kind of looking past this matchup. And maybe that kind of came back to bite them in the ass. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know if there's any sort of embarrassment surrounding that defeat. It didn't seem like it was something you expect, so I'm just kind of interested what your reaction to that is. Joe, how about you start, and then we'll get to George.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard the famous Baker Mayfield is a backwards hat kind of guy. Pete is everyone else is wearing a hoodie. I'm going to put it on, though. So take from that what you want. We're on to next week.
One thing I will say about that is I think it kind of created a sense of unity, Pete putting on the hoodie. I have famously coined the phrase that most people look similar in a hooded sweatshirt. So I do kind of like the sense of unity that we have. Just 4 people, 4 hoodies, all looking pretty similar. I am working on a trademark. I'm looking to brand that, maybe make it the fitness brand of Friends Who Gamble. I would love some input. We could talk about that off camera. George, what's your reaction to last week's game? I don't know. This feels like a spot for you to be embarrassed. Do you have any more of a statement on that matchup and that loss to Slippery Pete?
See me right now?
I
I'm
do.
on the treadmill. Time is it? 9:31. What do you think LeBron James is doing right now? Wake up, LeBron. Okay,
He's doing
9:30.
a rectum strain, I saw.
All right. Look at Pete. What's he doing? Sitting. He's already sitting on his laurels. He's complacent. He got to win. He's happy. Yeah, we lost, but I hop right back on the proverbial treadmill, if you will. Get right back to work. So that's all we're thinking about. Like Joe said, the team we're playing this week, they're real good they're well coached. All right. Good quarterback, really good receivers, good backs. So we're gonna have to play well in order to beat them all 3 phases. So that's kind of what we're focused on.
That's interesting. Pete, now that you've heard both owners react to the loss, I kind of want to give the floor to you, give you an opportunity to gloat, maybe talk about the matchup, what your strategy was going into it, and how you kind of pulled off the upset.
Yeah, well, interesting you say that, KB, because I'm not here to gloat. I'm not here to brag, and I'm not here to take a victory lap. I'm certainly not here to talk about Mike White and Davis Mills combining for a 50-burger. I'm not here to mention that Jamar Chase had 3 catches against the Jets. I'm certainly not even going to touch on the fact that Mahomes and Williams combined for 28 points on Monday Night Football when they needed 29. I wouldn't dare be here to mention the fact that the Pinz were projected 140 points and scored 105, earning them the Underachiever Award for the week. And the last thing I'm here to do is talk about their 0.88 point L. I really ask George's thoughts on the warning I issued just 3 weeks ago on October 15th, the Power 2 rankings, or the Week 2 Power Rankings Week 2 show. Karen, you also mentioned that George said something about not being afraid of Pete, right? That you didn't have the exact quote. It's funny because I do have the exact quote. And allow me to jog your memory here, right? So we're Power 2 rankings show. Pete, myself, my outlook on the season, I say, I'm playing spoiler. I want to ruin a couple seasons along the way. You don't want to lose to Pete. Everyone's afraid of Pete, said Pete. Literally no one. There is actually not a single person in the league that's afraid of Pete, said George. Yeah, but nobody wants to lose to him. No one wants to have that same stain on their record, said Kieran. I'm the scariest trap game on your schedule, and you know it, Pete said. It's true, KB agreed. I literally lose 0 sleep over Pete, George said. Someone's going to lose to me this year, George, and I hope it's you, said Pete. 3 weeks ago, George, that's what I said on the show. I pulled the quote. Like I said, I'm not here to gloat. I'm not here to brag. I'm not here to take a victory lap, but 3 weeks ago, I gave you that warning. It seems like you kind of took it lightly, and I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that interaction, and maybe if you regret anything you said.
3.2 speed on this treadmill right now. 3.2 speed. All right. You could only imagine getting on here 9:34, putting the work in. Win, loss, same routine. You guys have been with me for how many weeks now? I'm on this treadmill maybe once a week, twice a week. So, yeah, did I say some things about you and your team? And I'm still not afraid of your team. I mean, listen, you squeaked out a win by point whatever you squeaked it out by. Okay? And listen, if you want to victory lap it, victory lap it. But the difference between me and your team is my team still has a chance to win this whole thing. And that's what we're focused on. And like Joe said, and I will continue to reiterate it, team we're facing this week, they got a good backs. They're well coached. You know what I mean? Javonte Williams is having a really good season, kind of splitting that backfield there. Him and Melvin Gordon are like good 1-2 punch. So we're gonna have to, play well in all three phases of the game in order to win. I don't know. So that's kind of what we're focused on. But good win for you, and we just got to coach it better. I think we got to play better. We got to coach better. We got to do everything better.
We've always known there's more than 1 week to a season, so we're just putting our best foot forward. We got back into the film room. I'm already on to 2027 draft class. So, I mean, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you got your win, but we're on to next week.
Joe.
Yeah, and I'm glad to be on the right side of history. We all heard the quotes.
That's true.
I know that I have a matchup with I already beat Slippery Pete. Dominated him, actually. I believe I almost won by nearly 100 points. I was flirting with it for most of Sunday. It's just interesting. George has really been pushing for two Pinz to be climbing up the power rankings. I'd say you guys are lucky that this was in week 1 in the 2-week period leading up to next week, the next power rankings. You guys definitely have an opportunity. It's a shame that I don't have power rankings this week. I do not think they'd be kind. But I think we can leave it at that. I think we've kind of covered everything that there is. Moving to the next segment, I think you guys have already kind of gotten it started talking about we got rivalry week this week, week 9. I don't know if you guys want to say anything more on your matchup with Team Occasional Vibers. They're another team that has 2 owners. You guys have kind of covered their roster. I don't know if you guys have any more thoughts on their ownership. Do you think they have the coaching to kind of get back past you guys? You guys are definitely looking for a bounce back week. Joe, George, I don't know what else you guys have to say about them.
They're just a very well coached team, well managed. They're always prepared. Great quarterbacks, physical running backs, shifty receivers, can make a play. We just gotta do our job, keep performing, and look on to next week.
Very well said.
Wake up, Igor. Wake up, Igor. I'm up, Igor.
It'll be interesting to see if Talon has any input on the roster. He seems to be a little checked out of the league. I saw him this past week. I don't know if he hit any of you guys up. Just saying.
Saw him in Atlanta.
Just interesting. He's home. He let me know. It seems like you guys were unaware. Not to brag. He did think that the show was a joke. He didn't realize that it actually existed.
Can I make a comment?
If you take that as a slight, that he thought that great piece of content that you are a massive part of was a joke. He did not take it seriously. I don't know if that adds any extra motivation towards this matchup, or if you already had enough.
No, absolutely not. I mean, he probably would have known it existed if White Man was shadow puppering me in my spot, if they had taken over his team and made it their own. It was supposed to be a 50-50 split. It looks like it's like a 90-10 split with him and Igor, but that's neither here nor there. The thing I want to talk about, and hopefully it's on the agenda, is, Pete has talked repeatedly about wanting Joe on this show, about having a lot of things to say to Joe. I famously was very nice to Sean Fitz when he came on the show. People have actually commended me. They said, wow, you were so nice to him. We didn't think you were going to be that nice to him. Pete, I'm not saying you're running scared from Joe. I'm not saying that. But I'm getting texts right now. People are blowing up my phone. Is Pete running scared from Joe? Is Pete not asking Joe the hard-hitting questions? That's what people are texting me. That's what they're calling my phone. It's blowing up right now. I'd show you it, but I'm on the show. So I don't know if you're going to get into it, or if you're just going to sit there, keep your hoodie on, be part of the brand, be nice. But,
No, it's interesting that
you get one win and you're
playing very nice. I feel like so far, it is just a change of energy. I know that there was a lot of debate about who's a real versus fake Middle Eastern. I don't know if anybody wants to kind of lay claim to that. Maybe like a little test of knowledge to see, who truly is the king of the Middle East. I don't know, Pete, what do you have to say to that? There are many. We have some comments in the chat too. People are accusing you of running scared.
Yeah, I don't know what 2 roads you guys are going down here. I don't know, George, you're talking about shit that happened like over a year ago. Kieran with this Middle Eastern thing. I don't really know. One thing about Joe, people forget that the content in year 1 of this league was really the Pete and Joe show. I mean, that little rivalry spark that we had absolutely lit up the chat on a weekly basis. And it really created the most of the content that this league like thrived upon. So, I mean, I think it's a credit to who and Joe and I are as people. We make things happen. But Joe, I mean, didn't we buried the hatchet a long time ago? I feel like on one of those what we used to do, like the weekly meetings or whatever, the team owner meetings last year.
Yeah, honestly, I'm still not really sure what your name is. Is it Pete? Is it Alex? Have I ever met a Middle Eastern named Alex? Not really.
It's Alex Nazir Aruri.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Sounds like
I
a
can
white
make up
man
names too.
appropriating culture.
Zero.
That was the most culturally appropriated name I've ever heard of.
Alex Nazir Aruri.
Are you?
Alexander.
George, don't laugh too hard. You might trip. I got a full Tupperware of falafel.
What are you doing right now?
How about you,
What
Joe?
are you doing right now? You're sitting on your couch. I'm up, LeBron. What am I at right now? 3.3 speed. And you're talking about don't laugh too hard, you might trip. You got no chance of tripping because the only thing you're gonna trip over is your next opponent because you're not focused. Think about last week.
I will say, just going back to
extra
this
speeds.
matchup real quick, I just want to get out ahead of this. There have been people in the chat that are saying that they're coming at me as a schedule maker, saying that when I created Team 2 Pinz versus Team Viber and Rivalry Week, I was pitting two. How I view it, strong, powerful, youthful black men against each other. I totally deny that claim. I saw this as a very good matchup. I was really looking at two of the premier teams that were perfectly run by people such as George, Two Pins, and Talon, the occasional Viber. I'm excited to see this matchup. I think that it's the league's best that we have to offer. And I think it'll really showcase what this league's all about. So any of those claims, stop it, cut it out. Totally ridiculous. Love them. Back to the rivalry. What do you guys think of the rivalry week schedule? Do you think that maybe I missed the mark on some rivalries? Do you think that I did a good job with some of the matchups? Maybe there were some matchups you guys were hoping to see here. Pete, I don't know what you have to think. You typically have your finger on the pulse of kind of just, what everybody's saying, how people are feeling about other teams around the league. I don't know what you think about this rivalry week schedule.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you're getting kind of heat for the schedule making, but that's not the matchup that you should be getting heat for. You should be getting heat for putting yourself up against Sean Fitz on a week that you've got Godwin, Evans, and Swift on a bye. Now, I'm not coming at you. I'm not coming at you for it, but it is a little three big players on a bye week, and you're against the worst player in the league. That said, I think the easy rebuttal is that you and Fitz have a documented rivalry, so I don't have a problem with it. But that is the rumors that I've been hearing.
Well, somebody had to play him. Everybody knows that rivalry week has to be week 9. That's just kind of a written rule when it comes to dynasty football. So I couldn't really avoid that. That is definitely a strange coincidence, though. I will give you that. But as I said, somebody had to play him. I happen to, I guess, quote unquote, win the Sean Fitz lottery when it comes to when my bye weeks happen. The thing with that, though, I don't think that there's much to it. We did have, it wasn't just me. I just approved the final schedules. We had a independent group of arbitrators that helped put this together. It was much more random than you thought. I'm not the type to act in my own best interest. I think in the best interest of the league. As you had mentioned, I do have a documented rivalry with Fitz. I think it's the most fitting for both teams. So I do not think that there's much to that as far as me taking advantage of my powers, recognizing that my best players are on bye week, and happening to schedule week 9 said week as my week against Fitz. But just on my matchup, Fitz has a very good team, so I don't think that we should really be taking him lightly. He is starting the likes of Taysom Hill, Brandon Bolden. He has Tyler Johnson. He's going right now. He's having a good game. 2 carries, 8 yards so far. He has players like Kenny Golladay. That's, a wide receiver 1 that we've all come to know and love. So I do think that I kind of gave myself a tough matchup. I'm very interested to see how it plays out. that's
Now,
really
if
all I
there's
have to
one
say.
thing, if I can jump in on this, there's one thing I know about Bess and my multiple years of knowing him and playing fantasy with him.
Is it how to
Um,
pronounce his last name?
Mm,
Oh, it's
Very-
not.
can I
Never
finish?
mind.
Calls me
Can I
that.
No, you're right,
It's
it's
my
not.
Can I
nickname.
finish? No, can I finish? Thank you. He doesn't shy away from a challenge. Just recently, I actually texted him and I said, "Do you want to golf?" And he said, "I'll check my schedule," and has not gotten back to me. So that's an example of him not shying away from a challenge. I even told him I do not have my clubs and I will use someone else's clubs to make him feel better. And he is checking his schedule, but again has not got back to me. But like I said, he's not one to shy away from a challenge. I know he's going up against Kenny Galladay, who from personal sorry, did I just back out?
You're
From
good.
personal experience, I know Kenny Galladay is someone not to look down upon, even though he's been hurt the last like 4 or 5 weeks and possibly puts up 4 points a game. So that's just one of the things I would like to say about our commissioner.
I do feel I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart. I thought that it was a friendly invite, friendly matchup. I'm now learning that I was about to be ambushed with a challenge. So I am glad that I've taken the time to check my schedule. I'm still checking with my secretary. She's just making sure that I do have space. I do have a killer workout scheduled for Saturday, so it'll be interesting to see if I'll be able to fit both things in. I'll have to let you know.
Speaking of rivalry week, did Sean Fitz, did he run from you? I mean, I know you guys had a series of athletic challenges planned. I know that you basically virtually shook on it. I know that you were training all summer and still are,
Yep.
because as you have famously coined the phrase, if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. I know
Mhm.
that kind of came from you, and it's kind of been something that you've honed in on. And I don't know if I've seen. I mean, we had Sean Fitz on the show. He didn't mention it. He's been kind of quiet in the chat lately. Did he run from you? Did he duck that? Is that something
Well,
that
it's
you're
funny too
upset about?
because I believe that one of the things that we had scheduled, one of the events was route running, and we were rehashing old memories in the league chat, and he actually brought up a very interesting point where we were playing each other in flag football in college, and with the game on the line, down to the last play, the clock had run out. They got a free play. I believe he said intercepted. I didn't intercept. I actually just deflected a pass by the first, the front pylon, the front right pylon, as time was expired to seal the game for my team. So it's just, maybe it was that memory resurfacing that led him to realize that he was in over his head with these challenges. I've been working out all summer, all winter, every time in a sweatshirt, just to look similar to most people in the gym. So I do think that there's a possibility that he's kind of trying to back out and slink out of the challenges and hope that nobody notices. That is something that we'll have to bring up. I know he's an avid viewer of the show. He'll watch it 2-3 times, pick up little Easter eggs. So hopefully he sees this and understands that in my mind, the challenge has always been on. I've always been ready. And as Joe said, I do not back down from challenges. As I've famously been quoted, it's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, take what's ours, etc., etc. So, Sean Fitz, I hope you see this. I am ready to go. Maybe we'll schedule something for the warmer weather just to make sure you don't pop any hamstrings or anything. I know that the body tightens up in the cold weather. I'll be in my sweatshirt regardless. I don't know. I feel like that kind of leaves it at that matchup. We can move on to the next one. Let's see what we got.
Let's talk about Big Brain and the Suns.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's next on the docket. We do have Big Brain LLC. They are without Jordan or Aaron Rodgers or starting Jordan Love so far this week. That's what it's looking like. I think that's one of the most heated rivalries in the league. A lot of bad blood between Hilal Sharpton and Big Brain LLC. Pete, you seem very eager to talk about it, so I'll let you start.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's no rivalry. Big Brain doesn't have a rivalry bone in their body. They're a bunch of soft little couch-sitting pansies, right, George? But yeah, no, I'd be shaking my boots if I was a Big Brain right now, right? Suns, they're in a good spot, projected 122 this week. Big Brain losing Aaron Rodgers, it's got to hurt Devontae Adams as well. They're 5-3 with our commish at 4-4 on their heels. going against Fitz this week. So, KB, you're still winning the points for matchup. I mean, this could be the week that you take over Big Brain. I think you said it 2 weeks ago on the power rankings, and I don't think George and I even gave you credit for it. But yeah, I'd be scared if I was Big Brain right now.
Yeah, to be clear, I am not counting my matchup with Sean Fitz as a win. I learned from Team 2 Pinz that, you just got to take it 1 week at a time. You can't take your opponent too lightly. Never look ahead on the schedule. I'm very much focused on getting the most amount of points that I can get. Sean Fitz, it's a very good manager. He's got his spreadsheet. He knows exactly what he's doing. Everything's going according to plan. So I am not counting this as a win. I'm actually looking at this as a loss already. I just think it's a very good team, so I will not be counting anything before. I will not be counting my eggs before they hatch, anything like that. George, Joe, I don't know if you have anything to add on Big Brain versus the most athletic Suns.
Listen, I don't really do the snap face or the Instabook or whatever everyone else does, so I don't really see the rumors and the beef, as you guys want to call it. I just see two very good teams going at it. I'll be very excited to see what happens.
Joe, do you have a bad day or something? You seem down, brother.
Nope, I'm just focused on next week. They got a good quarterback, some physical running backs, some very good receivers that could get open. We just have to put a very good string of practices together and get out there and do what we can on Sunday.
Very well said. Let's see, what are we looking at? I think I'll skip over this next game because I believe that this is the game of the week. We'll get back to that at the end. Chris Carson Wentz versus T-Man Slack. Yeah, I don't think there's much to say on that. I don't believe Van Slack deserves any shine on the show, so I think we can just skip right over that. One thing we can cover in passing is the tragic loss of Derrick Henry for Chris Carson Wentz. As a guy that, I have a lot of integrity. I just want to give my thoughts and prayers to Chris Carson Wentz as a fantasy owner. That's a devastating blow. But it does open the league a little bit more. Team 2 Pinz, you guys are kind of fading, so I don't know how significant this is for you guys. But for teams like myself that are really making a push, I look at this as an opportunity. I see a real chance for things to open up. If the Zits can kind of get over that hump and get into their division lead and become one of the top 3 seeds, I think that they have an opportunity to overtake them with points. It'll be interesting to see these next couple of weeks how things evolve, and if Chris Carson Wentz kind of starts sliding down those standings, or if running backs like Dalvin Cook kind of step up, if Chris Carson can come back eventually. I was surprised to see McMorrow not use all of his fab on Adrian Peterson. I think that's probably the last true big name that we'll see in the free agents. I think we're getting a little late in the season for big pickups to come up. So, he might be behind the 8 ball now. George, you're a fading team, but I think that you're very much in the division. What do you think of Chris Carson Wentz and their recent loss?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not the Mona Lisa veto of who's in it and who's not in it, all right? But I would say that if you're a team and all you did was lose by 0.8, so you have a 0.8 loss on your schedule and you have a 0.1 loss to another team on your schedule, so you could very easily be, 2 wins above where you are right now, I'd put that in the non-fading category. Now, some people wouldn't, all right? And they get to be the commissioners. Their name goes first on the show. So if you want to crown them. But I think this is a good opportunity for us. I think that our team has kind of been slept on, if you will, for the majority of the year. A lot of people have been asking us what we're going to do at running back. We're just going to continue, as Joe said, to focus week in, week out, try to put together good practices. Good practices lead to good game days. And if we have a good game day, then we have an opportunity to go out there and get one this week. And as long as we get one every week, then we might be there in the end. So that's kind of the way that we're looking at it. So we're not really looking at who's fading and who's rising. We're kind of just looking at what we can do to control, the 15 guys on our roster, how we can maximize their talent and their effort.
Very well said. Has there been any correspondence with Slippery Pete in regards to Joe Mixon?
Yeah, we talked about it. But he wasn't budging, and um, so that's about as far as it got. It was, I texted him. I said, let's do the deal. He said, I'm not trading Joe Mixon because I want to build around the aging running back, despite the fact that he has no assets to build with. And so we left it there. I mean, listen, usually you want a hammer or a nail or two if you're going to build something. He has none of it, but he does have a sketch of what he wants to build. So I'm sure that he'll be very much able to do that. Maybe him and Sean Pitts can put together how to put together the worst rebuild for dummies book, and that might be a good way for him to.
Well, speaking of Fitz, that is a team that you can contact. I have a text from him pulled up. It's an anonymous text. I won't say who it's from. But Fitz texted me. He said, I was just asking about guys like Sanders and Jameis, guys that he had on the block. And he said to me anonymously, but I think when a competitor gets desperate, I can get more for Jameis. My plan is to wait and package him and Sanders towards the end of the year. I guess he meant the trade deadline. Value can only go up, especially come trade deadline. So that is something that he's looking to move. Miles Sanders and Jameis Winston, two guys that can really come on your roster right now, pause, and really help you win. I think that's a very good call by him to hold on to those two assets, not selling them when they're high, looking to sell them higher towards the deadline. I think that they have definitely increased in value. So speaking of, kind of writing a book on a good rebuild, I do think that Sean Fitz would be a very good contributor. I don't know. I think that's really all we're going to say about Chris Carson Wentz and T-Man Slacky. Before we get to the end of the week, we'll get to Slippery Pete's matchup. It's him versus the newly named Snake Bitten, appropriately named.
Oh wait, what was their team name?
Snake Bitten.
Wonder why. Gotta wonder why.
Yep. So the matchup's already somewhat underway.
They changed it.
The matchup's already somewhat underway. We got Mike White already going. I don't know what his status is with his hand injury. I don't know if he's come back in the game yet. I've had the game on mute. But even though we've already, started with your quarterback, how do you feel about this matchup right now? Your current projection is to lose by 20. Do you think that this is an opportunity where you can kind of pull Brian Jimko into the mud and do what you did to George last week, which was, totally control the pace of play and smother the opposing team and then ultimately beat them?
I mean, well, I don't look backwards, but well said, Kieran. I don't think so. I mean, I never plan on winning. I don't expect to win. If it were me, if I was a betting man, I'm not. But if I was, I would sell high on Pete right now and take Snake Bitten to win and cover. So no, I don't expect to win. I don't expect to compete. But all year I've said this is my Super Bowl. So you can best believe I'll start chirping if it's close down the end.
George, Joe, you got anything to add on that matchup?
I don't really like to condone myself with losers. Someone that goes into a week not prepared, not planning on winning, not really betting on themselves is not someone I want to vibe with. So good luck to Pete. I won't be watching his game. I hope Snake Bitten wins at this point, just because someone has more heart, as you were saying. Drive and power and stuff like that, and Pete just does not have it.
George, you got anything to add? All right.
I think
George.
Pete, first of all, I have been actually very nice to you this episode. Very, very nice. I could have mentioned the fact that you having your hoodie half on, half off looks stupid as fuck. I could have said that. I didn't say it. I did not say it.
Yo, good to see you crack a smile.
But I could have said it. And so, these are the types of things that I do for the courtesy of the show. As far as your matchup is concerned, anybody who talks about the fact that they're going in expecting to lose, but will chirp if it gets close, I mean, that's just, we don't associate ourselves with that type of activity. Either you go in confident and you expect to win and you chirp if you're winning, or you expect to lose and you say nothing if you end up winning. But to do the opposite of that, we don't.
I do think that's consistent with Pete's team message, which is kind of scared to win. I think would be a good motto, a good tagline for Team Slippery Pete. Just afraid to commit, afraid to kind of pick a path, very much in no man's land. This is a team that you've already said, George, they're looking to kind of have a window that opens in, maybe 2 or 3 years. But part of that plan is apparently to build around a running back that's currently 25. I know he has a lot of suitors, but he doesn't appear to be very interested in dealing that running back. So I do think that the kind of loser mentality is something that we've seen from Slippery Pete. I think that's why he gets such a kick out of winning, because he knows that he shouldn't be. He has no business doing so by his own doing. But yeah, I do think that you guys kind of have it nailed down with, your opinions on this game. So I'll kind of leave it at that. We'll move to the game of the week. This is one that we've kind of put in prime time. A win from one team could really flip the division in either direction, because if Go Tigers wins, then that's they have an opportunity to build a 2-game lead. But if the Zits win, then all of a sudden they go from being by far the best wild card team to maybe being the best seed and kind of hopping up to number 1 in the rankings. I've already, muted Mikey Bowen's texts for the week. I'm anticipating my data to run out due to him if I were not to do so. With every play, whether it's good or bad. Given his history in the chat, he was probably very happy to see Jonathan Taylor hurt on the sidelines. We do know that player injuries are something that he tends to root for. Given the victory laps he was running after Derrick Henry went down. One of his favorite players, something that we all knew, something that totally makes sense. I don't know who wants to open it up. Maybe we'll start with George. What do you think of the Zits versus Go Tigers?
I think that you muting your phone is definitely one of the smartest things you could have ever done in your life. But I also think that I haven't received any DMs or anything from Mikey since I pointed out on the show that he likes to talk to himself in my DMs, and that was not a shot at all when I said that. I enjoy watching his conversations with himself. They're actually very entertaining. He kind of sets himself up good for a joke, and then he'll come in, he'll hit the tagline on it, and he makes himself laugh real good. He makes himself cry good. So I like seeing those conversations. So hopefully they start again. It's a bitter brotherly rivalry. So it will be interesting. I assume like loser has to, sit at the kiddie table at Thanksgiving or whatever the case may be over there. But I'm definitely interested to see how this matchup turns out.
I think that's very astute. Joe, you got any opinions? I know that you typically just focus, kind of just a one-track mind. You kind of just close the walls and you just focus on what's ahead of you. Do you have any insight to this game, though?
Yeah, these are two good teams. Obviously, you want to see a game of the week. Two brothers, loser sits at the kiddie table. But this is also opportunity for George and I. We're going to get together afterwards, watch the film on that game, see how we can improve our team. Watching them, we obviously are up there as top managers in the league, but there's never a time we can't learn. So, when we sit back, watch film on all the other teams, that's usually a Monday thing. And then Tuesday, we go out and, implement that stuff. So Monday, we'll get together, watch the highlights, we'll watch film on that game, and then try to help ourselves improve.
Very nice. Very nice. That kind of covers all the games, so we can kind of just move on from that slate. I think one thing we want to get into before we get to Pete's Island is talking about Joe's role. He's a former employee of the league. He has since stepped down from that position. He was our league investigator. He left kind of disgraced. It was very poor tenure with very little results. Joe, are you looking to get back into the league, maybe in the same position, maybe in a different position? And regardless, yes or no, how do you feel about your prior stint as a league employee?
So after leaving, when they say you could take the investigator out of the person, but you can't take the person or whatever it is, I don't know how the saying goes. I've still been investigating. And we actually came up on the commissioner's emails. We're hoping to leak them out soon. There was a lot of things said, some things said about my co-manager, some things said about Igor's co-manager. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty yet. We're kind of filing a whole report. He actually said some things about Carl Nassib. We're not gonna get into that either. But as I said, we're gonna put it all together. It's gonna come out, put it up on ESPN. And
when
the
you
league
say
hires
about your co-manager and Igor's co-manager, are you talking about the emails where I said that those are two guys who would never cheat on their significant others?
Well, that's obviously a given, but it was the PS part that you put on the bottom.
I think I know what you're talking about. We'll save that for the after show. I don't want to get
This
into
is news to me.
Seth Wickersham actually already has a full-on book about this whole incident. Actually, if you want to check it out.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll save for the after show. I've been advised to not speak on those things. So, maybe this is something we can reach a settlement, maybe a fab settlement to make sure that these emails don't get out.
Well, we're just kind of waiting.
I gotta say, Joe, congratulations. Your record of 16.67% closed case percentage still holds the highest closed case percentage in Friends Who Gamble history. So congratulations on continuing that title. But I do have to say, Joe, I miss you, dog. Like, you were pretty vocal last year. You created a lot of content in the chat. You've kind of been ghosting us this year. I don't get a lot of you, so I'd love to get you back in the mix soon. I'm open to advocate for another position for you in the league.
That is, I cannot lie. I have been out of the league. School's been taking up a lot of time. Thankfully, last semester here. Next year, I will be full on, probably getting on. I don't know. We'll find someone to be a rival with next year. Maybe it's Pete. Maybe it's Alex. I don't know. We'll figure it out next year. I'll just be in the chat, just roasting everybody, and we'll get back to it. So looking forward to it.
And just to clarify one thing, Joe may not, be in the sleeper chat as much as he used to, but I mean, that guy, I think gets up 4:30, gets to the facility by 6 a.m. Game days, he's spaghetti, steak. So he's the type of guy, he's still grinding in the film room. He's still grinding, out there. He's grinding the guys on the practice field. But maybe just in terms of the actual ability to get in the chat and, send text back and forth, not as much. But don't think for a second, him and Ernie Adams, that is, we got Ernie Adams on our staff as well. They're in there every day, and they're putting together a good game plan. So
yeah, and I'd say that Joe's kind of omnipresent in the chat. Even when I don't see his little icon, see my messages, I do feel his presence. I know that he's always there with us, so it's good to just know that he's there. Know that if I needed somebody, that's a person that I could always call, and he'd be the first to help me. I hope that someday I get to golf with him. I don't know when. I'd love an invite. I'd love an opportunity to kind of see what he's got. Just in a friendly match. He's a real friend to me. I know he wouldn't ambush me with the challenge. I know they wouldn't judge me on the golf course. I believe that we're, two peers there, and I'd love to share a golf cart with him, drink a couple waters, and, hit some good putts. It would be interesting if he joined maybe the Team Hayes Scramble. That's a team that has me and Slippery Pete on it. We like participating with our friends, not competing against our friends, trying to shoot the best score that we possibly can. Maybe for a one-time tryout, we'd love to add Joe to that group, add a cushion at River Valley. But I'll leave that up to him. Hopefully he can check his schedule, find an opening, and we can figure something out.
I'm assuming we're all going to look the same the day we do go.
Yes, we will all be looking similar to each other in a hooded sweatshirt. Maybe we could all get the same thing. Maybe try and coordinate some colors. I think that'd be a good time. George, I don't know if you golf, but we'd love to have you as well.
Yeah, historically, it's not a good decision for me to be out in open fields.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we can move on to, I guess, our final segment, and that is Pete's Island. Pete, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Pete's Island. It's become a little bit of a favorite for me. So a little bit of a recap here. Pete's Island. Imagine friends who gamble. I don't know if we fell out of the plane. I don't know if our boat got sank. I don't know if we just took a vacation, but we're all on an island together, right? Rules are simple. You're on the show. You're a guest on the show. You get to kick someone off the island. You absolutely need no grounds to kick someone off the island. I don't care if they looked at your girl the wrong way. I don't care if they didn't answer your text to play golf. I don't care if they outshowed you on the treadmill or outperformed you on the treadmill. But here we go. Fitz, first guest of the year, kicked off McMurrow. Igor, second guest of the year, kicked off yourself, Joe. Third guest of the year, Big Brain, kicked off Bowen. So, Joe, as our fourth guest of the year, the floor is yours. You get to kick off one member of Friends Who Gamble from Pete's Island.
Let's see. I will kick off Chris Carson Wentz.
Ooh.
I just feel like combining two names, one that's not even playing right now.
Oh, sorry, vetoed. Fitz kicked off McMurrow the first week.
Keep going though.
Okay. We'll switch it up. Who's left?
Everyone except McMurrow, you, and Bowen.
Let me take a look.
In the meantime, while Joe looks, George, I actually have a question written down for you in my notes here. I wanted to know what your favorite quality about Joe is as a co-owner.
I'm actually really glad you asked that question because not a lot of people know this about this guy, Joe here, all right? He's this type of guy, like I said, he gets up 4:30, 4:45, he's texting me, little game plan things, little snippets. Once he gets into the facility, he's kind of the hardest working guy in there, right? So he's kind of in there. He's getting the guys going. He's preparing the game plan. He's in there with them, showing them around, telling them what they have to do. Yeah, I am ultimately, I'm the head guy, but, he's in there. He's devising the offensive game plans, defensive game plans. He's got his hands in everything. So he's truly is, the best co-owner there is out there. And I say that, I know you're making faces over there, trying to sow division with the face that you're making. But when I say I'm the head guy, I mean that any mistakes that happen, they're on me. They're not on Joe. All right. So if you see something happen, if we forget a player, if, I'm going back and forth with the commissioner on different rulings about, tanking or whatever, that's on me. That goes through me. All right. Joe doesn't, he's just getting the guys ready to play. He's preparing the guys every week in, week out. So that's kind of what I admire the most about him is he's just going to come week in, week out. He's going to be consistent. He's going to get the guys ready to go. And he's not looking to go to USC. All right. You know what I mean? I mean, you wouldn't ask that of anybody else's co-manager. All right. Go ask Occasional Vibers if he's going to go to USC. Right. Go ask Hall Sharpton if he's going to go. These guys aren't going to USC. Joe's not going to go to USC. He's got a heck of a job here. So those are kind of the things I admire about him.
Well, there have been rumors that have been growing about T-Man Slacky maybe looking for a new owner. I know that, George, you've kind of been looking to prove yourself on your own. I know you've talked about starting other leagues where you can kind of try out things that you might not necessarily do in Dynasty League. How interested are you in that T-Man Slacky position?
Zero interest. I would never leave. Me and Joe are building something here. I know, and I know your record, right? I know your track record. I know the type of guy you are. Other people don't. I get texts. You can see my phone right here, blowing up. People are saying, what's the commissioner's record on diversity? I know we've tried to get a couple different other African American solo co-owners in here a couple of times, and that's been blown up for people of majority races. I'm not saying one way or another what that means, but hopefully if Slacky does get kicked out of the league, that we really give that. I don't know if we have a Rooney type rule in effect here, but maybe we can offer some extra additional comp picks or whatever the case may be. But definitely would love to see some kind of progression in this league and just getting more people so that kind of reflecting the population a little bit more. But so I think, but in terms of me, I'm going to stay right where I am with my co-owner. We're building something here. So yeah, no chance.
Yeah, I just want to push back a little bit on the, what your comments about the diversity in the league. I mean, we can just look at this call right now. We have 3 people that are minorities. we have Joe, he's Middle Eastern. George, you appear to be Italian or Greek or some sort. We have me, I'm Irish. And then we have a white man, we have Alex.
Nazir Aruri. Nazir Aruri.
So that right there, we just kind of have, we're almost like a Napoleon ice cream tub when you look at the call. So I do think that, it's always something that I'm looking to kind of expand on. I think teams like Big Brain LLC, that's, a team that we can kind of look at to break up, maybe shake some things up. That's a room full of white men. And then, just teams like, maybe Team Anslaki, that is a good team that I think that we could kind of, if that's the team that has the next opening, that is something we can look at. I do know that you've had some candidates that seem to be a very good fit. So, maybe we can kind of look into those options at the end of the year once we silently slide Slacky out of the league and see if he ever finds out. But that's something that we can kind of discuss in the winter meetings and look to expand upon. That is something I take very seriously. I believe I do have a good track record, despite what the haters and losers, of which there are many,
or the investigations.
And maybe we can hire Joe. He can come back and kind of be on that board. We can have people such as George and Joe. I think adding a white man like Alex in would be very good. And we can find somebody that I believe is the right fit for Team Anslaki. It's a very good team. They got some good players. Would love to see somebody come in and shake things up. But I believe that's all we got to say on that. I don't know.
Kick somebody off the island.
Yeah, that was a big tangent, but I liked it. Joe, who'd you decide on?
So after hearing my co-owner speak and realizing how great of a fit we are and how we share, the responsibilities of the team, there's another team that does not do that very well. That's Team Occasional Vibers. As we spoke earlier, I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, who's he gonna kick off? Pete, Alex, like who knows? You know what I mean? No, I don't like that vibe over there. It seems like Igor's really been taking everything off of Talon, and it's just like everyone said, it's like a 90-10 split, maybe, 10's being a little bit generous. Just don't like that one guy making all the decisions and the other one just kind of put there. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just not a good vibe.
It's pretty ludicrous to not give Talon more responsibility. You got to wonder exactly why Igor can't trust him. I think it kind of goes without saying. It's too disgusting to really put out there on this podcast. We are a family program. And I just don't think, I think it's one of those things that doesn't need to be said.
I will say it. I truly think Igor is a little bit embarrassed that Talon is much taller than him. I think it's obvious. I think we're all thinking of it. It's the elephant in the room. So I think it's just unfair that his height really has to do this much injury to his ownership of the team. So I will put it out there and let what falls on me fall.
George, you got
anything to add? A little cliffhanger before we sign off, KB. Some information has come to light that our very own George Atupem resides in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I'm also a boy holding down the dot. So I guess the league can look forward to some in-person content pretty soon.
Well, there have been talks of Quincy Fest the weekend of November 20th. I don't know if George and Joe, if they'll be around. We'd love to have it. We're looking to kind of, plan a Lex Pinz and Pete live show for sure. We're looking to put tickets on sale in the upcoming weeks. Maybe have something leading into the playoffs. George, what do you think?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have a live show coming up. I think we're in talks right now. We got the Cash App that's gonna sponsor that, and then I think we're working with another brand. Can't say too much about what they do, but it's a lot with different sweatshirts and things of that nature. So I won't kind of give away who's sponsoring the show, but definitely going to be something that's intriguing out there. So I think we'll
all be outfitted in Shop Alley Grace jeans. That's another sponsor that we're proud to have. One of the trophies they're looking to make.
Sabra Hamus.
Yeah, they're looking
Sabra Hamus.
Oh, really? You eat that grocery store shit?
Hamus.
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Joe makes his own.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Joe wouldn't even know 3 ingredients in it.
Bro, Pete can't even speak Arabic. Let's just move on.
Masalami.
He's speaking Italian, salami. Come on.
Haywan kal yalla immi.
Oh, this feels problematic now. I think that kind of covers everything. I don't know if anybody has parting words. Joe, we do want to thank you for coming on. I don't know if you have anything to leave us with.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a great time. Can't wait for the next one.
All right, I guess we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, this is Alex Slippery, Pete, and Azir Aruri signing off.